Premier League betting edge.
This is simply stunning. Oh, it's another blessing. Oh, yes. Top quality. Man of the moment. On the biggest stage, he is the master performer. Oh, indeed.
All right, Premier League betting edge is back. 2019-2020 season. I'm so pumped up. And joining me, and he's not from the other side of the country anymore. In fact, today is his first day in Colorado. He has been a jet setter today on 3 different planes, up at 3:30 in the morning. But yet he's pumped up to do the podcast. And here he is, Mr. Riley Wickman. Riley, what's going on, man?
Well, a little bit tired, but I mean, nothing like EPL to keep you energized. So, yeah, really excited here to get this season rolling. We're only a few days away. So, yeah, really excited. I mean, it's like Christmas Day pretty much for me, that first game especially.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We were talking yesterday about the Premier League show on NBC Sports that I love so much, and the production quality over there is so good, and I can hardly wait myself. And it's early in the morning for me. It's going to be for you now. It's going to be like 4:35 in the morning when we get up to start watching these games. So that'll be super exciting. I think Riley perhaps may have some tricks up his. Oh, a couple technical things. We are going to be doing a video podcast as well as an audio podcast, and I think it's going to be really cool because, and I'm going to get into Riley's. The magician of the EPL has some tricks up his sleeve as far as the modeling goes. It's super cool stuff. I mean, I think Riley was like really concerned last week because he showed it to me and I like keeled over in my chair like this. He was like, Mark, you got to get back. You got to get back to life. And I was like, oh, it was so good. And so as we talk about some of these games, Riley's going to go into the actual model, the additions that he's made, and they're super cool. It's going to be really fun for goal scoring props that we're gonna play on a weekly basis, and then it's really helped him out in selecting these future plays. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it. So we're going to start. We got 4 plays, and I think that there were 16 plays overall. So you CDS members, you guys have already moved the line on one of these plays. So if you're not a CDS member, it's a great time to join. We got some special deals going on, and you guys get another 12 future plays in addition to 38 weeks of Mr. Riley Wickman and the EPL model. It's going to be a hell of a season. So let's start off first play, and I like this. I picked this one out. It's a plus 400 play. It is Everton to finish in the top 6. It's a 1-unit play plus 400. Riley, elaborate on why we're doing this.
Yeah, so as I actually mentioned in one of the newsletters, there's a few teams that I've already pinpointed that, we're going to find a lot of value on last year. A few of those teams last year, for example, were Bournemouth and Burnley. But this season, Everton looks to be a team that's going to be flying a bit under the radar. And by that, I mean, this is really a potential top 6 team here. They actually finished 5th overall back in 13-14, so it's not, crazy out of the blue that this could happen here. And the reason here, as you're looking at my screen, I have Marco Silva highlighted. He's currently 10th overall in the EPL manager ratings. Expect this number to go up this season, perhaps. He really is a quality manager. He had a bit of a tough time at Watford for a little while. First season at Everton wasn't all that outstanding, but this man really is a great tactical manager, and we could kind of see him blossom this season. And this is one of the newest additions as well to the model here. You can see his manager overall rating is a 102. So that is 2% better than average right now, but we could see that rating increase as the season goes on. Now looking at our bar players, which is going to show the player ratings for all of Everton's players. And one of the reasons why I love Everton so much is they have 2 of the best players outside the top 6 teams, perhaps the best player, if not the best player in the league, but probably around top 5, top 10 for me in terms of the ratings, which is Lucas Digne. He has exploded out of nowhere.
Wow,
last season.
That's pretty interesting. So he's top 5 in your ratings.
Yeah, well, last season he was top 5. Yes, he exploded out of nowhere. He was a I think he's originally a starting left back at PSG. He went backup left back at Barcelona for a little while. Came to Everton. It seems like the pipeline is Barcelona rejects to Everton. Andre Gomes is another one in there as well, who had a decent season last year. But he had an outstanding season last year. I can't remember what his assist numbers were, but expect big things from him this season as well. And also Gylfi Sigurdsson. He is still alive and kicking at attacking mid for Everton. Will likely be starting again this year. I'm expecting a fairly decent season from him as well. And they've also just brought in Moise Kean. That is actually the correct pronunciation as well, Moise Kean. So Mark, take notes. We'll probably be talking about him more. I think he's 19 currently, but he's a young striker from Juventus. They got him for about 30-ish million. But he should have a pretty solid season as well, because if you guys remember, if you guys were reading the previews, the one thing I was really worried about this team was that striker position. But overall here, this team is really, really well-rounded, has some of the best players outside the top six. And I guess the one thing for me is it's just not really a flashy team. You don't really, none of the players in here really, jump out at you, I guess, at this point, besides now Moise Kean. He's probably one that a lot of people will be familiar with. But overall, it's a team that great tactical coach behind it, well-rounded, great players in Lucas Digne and Gylfi Sigurdsson. And now looking at the season simulations here, which will show
I just wanted to say one thing. I think that Moise Kean, the only person that's doing more at a younger age is you.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he might be starting for a Premier League team, so I don't know if I can.
I don't know. The lead handicapper at Clear Data Sports. Come on, man. You got to give yourself some credit.
I mean, I'm getting there.
Absolutely.
And then
another year, you're definitely
yeah, maybe,
and you'll always be younger than him too.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So yeah, now looking at the actual simulations as well, top 6% is 45.4, and then we have the play or price at plus 400. Mark, if you can do the math on that one quickly, otherwise we'll let them do it. But anyways, looking at their stats.
No, what I'm seeing from this is like, hey, these are simulations, and so maybe get into Everton's like simulation page, the projection page.
Oh yeah, sure.
This is like the this is what is most likely to happen based on your Prince of Monte Carlo simulations, 10,000 simulations. So most likely to happen, according to our numbers, is that Everton's going to finish in 6th place, and you're getting plus 400 on it. It's a great play. So maybe get into the projections for Everton, and then my man, the guy who goes by one name, who I love.
Of course. You don't even have to say him. I already know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. Maybe we plug him into because I know this is really plug him to the expected goals. The simulator you have on that.
We'll have to show that off a bit here. So yeah,
cool.
So here's the final output, and another thing I've added in as well is the goal differential too. So 7.7 for them. But yeah, currently their projected output right now is higher than United, and I'll go into that a little more in a second. But looking at the projections here. If we type in, this is a cool feature that I've added, type in Richarlison. And if you look here at N16 and O16 here, we have projected season totals for expected goals and expected assists. So 11.5 and 2.6, which is respectable. Considering that they'll have a lot more attacking quality in that side this year than last season with Moise Kean especially. So yeah, really positive signs from them overall as a team. Arsenal, and we can even go ahead and sort. This is a cool thing. So we're going to sort here by top 6 opponents, and the way this works is it's not the widely accepted top 6. It's going to be whoever's in the top 6 in my projected season sims at the moment. So Everton will be included, but right here you can see 9.9 points from 10 matches. So that's almost a point a match exactly. So that's, I mean, we'll have to see if that comes to fruition here, but they're going to need to take some points from those top 6 teams if they really have a chance at finishing top 6. But I think, this is a really solid team. And another player I didn't mention who they also signed is this man, Jean-Philippe Gamin. I don't know. That's
better than what I could say. So I'll defer it back to you.
I'll have to figure that one out by the end of the season. But yeah, he'll be a strong defensive midfielder. It's just like I mentioned before. Overall, it's a strong team. But it's not a team that's all that exciting. Doesn't really jump out at you from the page here. But I think this is a really strong team with a strong manager, and that's why I like them so much. And the model backs it up as well with the ratings. So really excited. Hopefully this play comes out as successful, or at least challenges to be successful, because I think it is pretty crazy that we have them as favorites to finish top 6, or currently projecting to finish 6th in overall, and we're getting this at plus 400. So yeah, hopefully Marco Silva will work his magic this season.
I think it's a great play. I think it's super value. The one thing, and correct me now if I'm wrong, Riley, the one thing that I do want to make sure people know is that a lot of this model is player based. So if somebody gets injured, if maybe some playing time changes, and we'll see that happen in the first couple weeks, then it's dynamic enough. And does this apply to the Monte Carlo projections too? It's dynamic enough so that if somebody does get injured or we increase our ratings for a particular team, it's going to update that whole table, projection table.
I can showcase this for you as well. So let's say Lucas Digne has a drop off season, and let's actually reference the season sims first here. So you can see the points total right now 57.7. Make a note of that. Let's say he has a drop off season, plays at what's more of like an average fullback to a little below average attacking output, and we'll look and see what their season sims are now, which goes way down to 53.8. So if Digne has a drop-off season, they could be in trouble. But that's how cool this model is, though. All I have to do is,
basically, you changed one rating for one player, and it dropped them 2 points and expected.
Yeah.
That's freaking tremendous, dude. I mean, that's really cool how that works. So
yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun to use throughout the season, and even just referencing that the goal totals and all that stuff will be pretty cool. So yeah, bit of a showcase there. I think it's going to be an awesome season. I've added a ton of stuff. We both worked obviously a lot this summer on this, so really exciting now to showcase this.
So the one thing is the manager ratings, and now that is calculated into, it's not just a descriptive number, it's a number that we incorporate into the model?
Yes, it actually is going into the model here, and I can show you exactly how I do that as well. So looking at a quick glance at the ratings sheet right here, and you can tell just one glance at it why City is heavily favored in my model looking at that. But the manager ratings are actually going to be based off of a win probability added or win probability, I guess you'd say removed or taken off sort of thing. But each of these manager ratings are going to be indexed into the sheet here, and they're going to be and it's not a 1-to-1 weight. They are weighted, so it's not like Pep Guardiola here at 0.13. He's not adding, and these are going to be taking off attack and defense, by the way. It's not like he's adding 0.13 goals per game exactly, but it's all weighted in there, and I think I'm going to tinker with it throughout the season based on how we're doing, results, all that stuff, like I did last year, which proved to be pretty successful. So we're going to start like it is right now.
That was one of the cornerstones of our success last year, was your ability to kind of adjust time frames and tinker with the formula parts of the model to give us the best chance to have that winning week in and week out, and that's a tribute to you and the design of the model, the agility of the model as well. Okay, so we've shown off quite a bit of the model. You guys, all for free too. You haven't had to pay a dime to see what we've done, and we got 3 more plays. So first play, Everton plus 400 to finish top 6. Next play, I like this one too. Arsenal minus 105 to finish above Chelsea.
Yeah, and this one's looking especially nice right now because there's a rumor out there that Philippe Coutinho will be coming over from Barcelona to Arsenal on loan. And if that were to happen, this number, well, we already are finding great value on this number as it is right now. But I think if he comes over, that number is going to shoot downwards. And that price we got at minus 105, I think is a great price here. I think Chelsea are definitely in for a down season. And we can take a look at the manager ratings first before we get to the players.
I think. Sorry, and I don't mean to jump in, Riley, but I think you bring up a really good point. So they get Coutinho, who's tremendous, right? We quantify Coutinho a certain way based on our ratings, and then we plug him in. And it's one thing to say, okay, this guy's going to have a tremendous impact on this team when he comes over, but it's another thing to actually quantify how much he's going to have an impact. So that would tell you, well, there's there's probably 30 different bets you can make with Arsenal if Coutinho comes over. Like, but which ones are good, which ones are bad, and then on the fly you'll be able to put him in there. So to me, that's super cool. It's super valuable to our guys that we aren't just injecting our opinions in there. We're actually quantifying it numerically, and then we'll be able to project it through the whole season. But I just wanted to make that point. I thought that was a really good example. So here we have this spectacular player coming in, and we can plug it in the model, and it's going to tell you what the percentage of their 11th or 12th game of the season, how that's going to change the line. And I think that's really cool. I think that's super cool, Riley.
It changes the line for every single game in those projections. So awesome there. And I did want to go over the reason why I like this play so much. It's not only that we're betting on a good team in Arsenal, a team that I like in terms of value, but we're also betting against a bad team, which I don't like, in Chelsea in terms of value this season. I think they, based on the lines I've seen so far, are fairly overrated, and there's other plays that we're going to make here for the members that might back that up there. Just a little hint. But looking at their manager here, Frank Lampard, and for a team like Chelsea, who has been very successful in Europe over the last, it's been a few seasons since they've won Champions League, and by a few, I mean like it's probably been like 7 years now. But anyways, they've been successful over the years. To have the 18th best manager in the league at this point isn't all that intriguing. And what's even more funny to me, anyways, is that United is so much worse. But anyway, so Chelsea, Frank Lampard, new guy, was successful at Derby. He'll come in.
You're not real bullish on the United guy, huh?
No, not exactly. I went to see him too as well. I was actually at a game last season. Anyway, so Chelsea, Frank Lampard, I mean, he's a new guy. I think he's going to be successful in the long run, but this definitely is a rebuilding season for Chelsea. Hazard was worth about 7 points over replacement for Chelsea last year. That is a metric I'll be referencing as well throughout the season. And they're losing 7 points, replacing it with Pulisic, who I currently have. Let's take a look at the handy-dandy projections here. So we'll refilter out of Everton in top 6, and then we'll type in Christian Pulisic, and we can see how many points we're projecting him to be valued above replacement here this season. And that number falls on 2.3, so that's 5 less than Hazard. So that's already 5 points projected loss just on that transition period. I think they're in for a bit of a rough season this year. They have a decent.
Hold on a second. So you bring up a whole nother deal here. We've got essentially PVAR is the war. Your rendition of war for soccer.
Yeah, go with PVAR.
PVAR. So it's all. It's like a MIG, not an MIG.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay. No. So, but I guess what I'm trying to say is you've got your own value above replacement, kind of like the baseball, the war. And I haven't seen this, and you're more in tune with soccer analytics, obviously. I mean, that's what you've done, and I fully expect you to be in the front office in the next 4 years of a big club, and that's why we got to make hay while the sun shines at Clear Data Sports. But I haven't seen this. Is there any other site that has like something similar to this?
No, this is what I keep saying. These bar ratings are truly one of a kind. You really can't get them anywhere else. There is on-ball event stuff, and that's what it's based on. It's based on all the on-ball actions and events. We're rating every single one that every player completes. There is stuff like that out there, but nothing like that I've seen yet that it takes the sabermetric approach. And that's what I pride myself on, I guess, taking that sabermetric approach that baseball uses that's been so successful over the years, for example, like the Astros, and now Liverpool has applied it for them. And I'm not sure, if the big clubs use stuff like this. I wouldn't be surprised if they had their own take on it. But, just us being able to use it there, that, I know that there are lots of top, stats companies that have nothing like this at all, where like expected goals might be their main attraction sort of thing. And at this point, it's mainstream at best. So,
right.
Yeah, we're taking things to the next level right here, I think. And
this is a super cool example of it. You've got Pulisic and Hazard, and a lot of people will say, well, it's not that big of a loss, and you're able to quantify it. Hey, this is exactly what the loss means as far as our projections go. So really cool.
So I'll have to see. I mean, I hope personally that he has a good season. and I'm sure he'll have a decent season. I wouldn't be surprised if he overperformed a bit from what I'm projecting here. And he played pretty well in preseason as well. But it still is going to, even if he plays the best season of his career by far, he will still be far off of what Hazard added every single game for Chelsea. So, yeah, big point there I think to make. But I really like Arsenal. I think and looking back at the managers as well. And I know this is something that's Metrics Mike does a lot as well, is looking at analyzing the head coaches. Same thing for me. I think head coaches have a big impact on the game. And looking at the difference, you have Unai Emery 4th overall compared to Frank Lampard 18th overall. I think over the course of the season, the one thing that Arsenal are lacking right now, they have the 3rd best attack in the league, undisputed. Perhaps even getting up there with Liverpool at this point if they bring Coutinho in. But their defense is lacking. Unai Emery he's actually more of a defensive coach. So if he institutes a solid defensive system, I mean, I'm a bit worried about that top 2 City and Liverpool. So I don't know. That might change this season. We'll have to see if that changes for the first time in the last 2 years. So we'll have to see if Arsenal can get up there, because I really think this is a quality attacking team. And it really is like this. I almost feel bad finding this at -105. It's just like, it's almost like we're printing money a bit here. So
I think we're printing money with this one. It's a banker's bet.
Yeah. I mean, it could lose, but I mean, I don't want to be guaranteeing that we're printing money, but that's just how confident I feel about this. In terms of, all the numbers are backing up Arsenal this season. I think their player strength is backing it up. The team metrics heading into this season are backing it up. Managers backing it up. I mean, what else is there to say really for me? So yeah.
And I know this about Arsenal. They have 2 guys that can score goals, because when I was looking at your goal model, I was saying, what's up with Aubameyang? That's kind of a low projection, huh? And then you quickly corrected me on that.
Well, yeah. So they'll have Aubameyang. They just brought in Nicolas Pepe, who I have scoring about 13-ish goals this season. Coutinho will add goals. Lacazette will add goals. They have a lot of goal scorers, even throwing Alex Iwobi. So it's going to be spread out, and this is why it's tough to really pinpoint who's going to be a high volume scorer for this team, because there's so many options. So yeah, it's really exciting, I think. And I mean, if they had Coutinho, it's going to be like I said, they really could challenge Liverpool and City if their defense holds up. But if not, their defense right now really is almost average, if not getting to the point where it's below average. So they have an offer in as well for another young defender, though, which 70 million. Okay. So if they bring in a young center back here, which they are rumored to, and then also Coutinho, I mean, it's this -105. I mean, you better get.
I'm going to the bank right now. No.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
I'll go to the bank. I'll wait to do the podcast, then I'll go to the bank.
Exactly. Yeah. So
okay.
I mean, overall, I feel like this is just a great play, and I love having the numbers to back it up, though, for sure.
So it all depends on, do I think Bitcoin's going to double by the end of the Premier League, or just like that's really the choice that I have to make with this play.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, all right, dude. Let's get. Oh my gosh. And guess who put this one on the card for the podcast? Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to guess who put this next one on here. I mean,
Burnley over 38.5 for 1 unit, 38.5 points, and so let's not get burned on this play.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna. So hold on. So over 38.5 at -105. Sorry to cut you off, but I actually I want to bring up a different spreadsheet here for this one. I'm going to mix it up a bit here. And this is one of the big things I worked on over the summer. I know I've referenced it in the newsletter for you guys that have been reading, but it's based on this age growth formula, which is going to project player growth, player performance from year to year based off of their growth of age. So, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, we're looking at age growth there and how that's going to affect their output. Now, if we look at this delta P-var here, so column AY, that is going to be the difference of P-var from last season to the current season. And so we're looking at, so players that score highly are going to be projected to make big jumps. And look at who's number 2 here. Dwight McNeal, 18 years old last year, so he'll be 19 this year. Winger for Burnley, currently second only behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's on another planet at this point for young players anyways. 1.64, meaning he's projected to be worth 1.64 more points this season than he was last season. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because he could potentially be a big player, one of those players that scores. And Burnley hasn't really had a player that is a go-to attacking outlet, consistently. Where if Dwight Mcneal becomes that, this team is not. And a lot of people are saying the relegation threatened this year again, which they've said for the last few years. Sean Dyche always outperforms, seemingly, anyways. But if they were to add McNeil as a consistent attacking output here, they are much more of a mid-table to even challenging upper mid-table team than a relegation threatened side. So that's why this is one of the reasons I like them so much this season. And if we actually type in Dwight McNeal here, we can see his goal projected. So 9.8 expected goals, 7.8 expected assists. So big output from him this season expected. We'll have to see that.
Could be some potential for a three-headed parlay with Dwight McNeal.
Yeah, he is definitely going to be the go-to this season for Burnley for the three-headed parlay for sure. So
because I'll have you know that I know you were working on all these advanced metrics. I know you were because I saw you in Excel just working your ass off. But as you were doing that, and what I was doing, aside from doing baseball handicapping, but I was working on my when Burnley wins and we have a play on them, I was working on like my fire references, song references that use the term burn in them. So I'm all prepared for that. So I was really happy to see that we like Burnley.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're in for another solid season. Actually, going back to this season sims here, we can actually, look exactly where they're projected, not just marvel over Dwight McNeal. So 43.9 projected points. And actually, I forgot to bring this up too, by the way. So looking at that last play, I just wanted to point out Arsenal are 6 points favored to Chelsea. So that's another reason why I actually made that. Just wanted to make that point quick. Forgot to make that point. Burnley, though, 43.9 projected points. That is about 5 over 5.4 to be exact over their number that we got them at right now, minus 105 as well. So I think it's a great play. And like I said also in the newsletter, Dyche tends to always outperform due to his tactical system. He plays very compact defense, very tough team to beat away. He's capable of also getting points against the top 6. Really excited for that play this year. Of course, we love Burnley here, probably one of our favorite teams at CDS for sure. So hopefully they can come out with a big season here and get us a nice.
I liked how you did that in a newsletter the other day where you were talking about the different teams and how the model performed with them. I just thought that was very interesting. Mm-hmm. And I know they were one of the darlings, and there was the other team was Bournemouth, I think.
Bournemouth, yep. And looking actually now, just sorted by, just to back up my point here, just sorted by Burnley against top 6 this season. Currently projected 9 points from 12 matches, so expected to get some points away.
So they got a chance in those games.
Yeah.
And, okay, sure. So this last one, we will go one more for you guys. And again, we have 16 plays. This one is interesting because the line dropped 100 points overnight from the time you put it out in Slack yesterday to now, and it is Southampton to finish in the top half. We'll have to give it out on the podcast at plus 275. Mm-hmm. Given out, and this goes to show you that lines move at Clear Data Sports. Plus 375 is what you gave it out. Right now it's plus 275. Talk about Southampton, because that was one of the teams that we didn't do as well on. We did lousy on it last year, but I thought that was really cool that you brought that out in the newsletter. It was like, hey, we don't win every game that we play. Mm-hmm. For instance, this is what happened with Southampton. So talk a little bit about that and I guess the ineptitude of Mark Hughes and how much of an upgrade a new manager has with this team.
Yeah. So the idea behind that point that I made, and for those of you who didn't see this newsletter article, we actually went over 5 on Southampton plays last year. We were finding value on them, but we weren't hitting the plays. And the reason being, this side is actually
they were what you call value losers.
Yeah. Yes.
I've had a few of those in my life, Riley. So
yeah. Well, this was our value loser of last season, right. And I think this is the perfect storm for them this season. Really excited about this. But basically, old manager Mark Hughes, not my favorite manager. Was basically one of those more traditional managers where not very tactically inept, or he's not very tactically progressive. Doesn't have the best the ability to get the most out of his players sort of idea, in layman's terms, I guess. Anyway, so they bring in Ralph Hasenhuttl. I think it's Hasenhuttl, from RB Leipzig, who he did really well there. Actually brought them to second place in their first season in the Bundesliga, which would have been now 2 to 3 years ago. I think 2 years ago. Anyways, so he's a great manager tactically. He's still relatively youngish, but he's coming in. He's currently ranked 8th overall in the manager ratings. And the reason why we weren't hitting those plays last year is because this is a very strong team. I think they had a lot of high-rated players. And if we take a look at, let's say, PVAR per game here, James Ward-Prowse, very underrated player in my opinion in the Premier League. Nathan Redmond, they have a lot of talent, including some of the best center backs, one of the best center back groupings in the league as well. So I mean, you're seeing, if you look at these defensive numbers right here, I mean, plus 0.1 isn't something you see every day in center backs, and all three of them have this rating right now going into this season. And these ratings are all projected based off of that player growth as well. So that's something to take note of. Anyways, so this is a very strong team with a very strong manager. The reason they didn't finish well last season was they were pretty much bound for relegation, and then he led them clear at the last part of the season. And the thing I love about this team so much is that they finished 17th and 16th in the last 2 years. So realistically, the general public is not going to be expecting to see them, any higher than, 14th, 13th. That might be, out there for somebody to have them all the way up there. But in my preseason simulations, at times, one of the earliest ones I did, they were actually in 5th, which I think is pretty incredible. It was prior to most of the big transfer window signings. So obviously a lot of the big clubs will catch up, like Chelsea did, like United did, and like Leicester eventually did here. But Southampton, I mean, very, very strongly rated by the model coming into this season. Like I said, great manager, strong squad overall. And we can also take a look at their matches versus the top 6 this season and see what they're projected to be at right now. But I currently have them, and let's see. So currently 11 from 12 matches. So looking at the actual season sims, and that the play is top half, so all they need to get is 10th. I currently have them actually in 9th right now. Like I said earlier, I had them much higher, but there is a bit of a gap between them and West Ham and the rest of the pack. And I think that might be prevalent where the top half of the mid-table this season is, I think it's going to be really strong. Like I said, Everton will be up there, Leicester will be up there, Southampton won't be up there, but then you also have Chelsea and United, who have projected to be a little off, like I said, this season, especially Chelsea, for example. And I don't necessarily like the managers for either of those two teams. So it's going to be tight. That 6th through 10th is going to be a very tight race this season, I think, closer than normal. And I think Southampton will be up there in that grouping. And like I said, all I need to get is 10th. And we're getting this at, well, I got this. Some of the members I know got this at plus 375. All the more reason to subscribe to get those plays as early as possible.
So, and that brings up another point. These are all bet online.
Yes.
Plays. And I don't, for whatever reason, 5 Dimes couldn't get their props up early this year. So, but I think that we're okay using the bet online plays. Most of our guys can get there. Most of our guys that haven't been cut off, that is, from bet online. I know we have a few that have been cut off from bet online. But I think that it's a big enough outfit that those lines, you guys can get those. And I just don't know. I mean, we were holding off the Futures podcast because of the 5 Dimes situation. I don't know why they took so long they haven't even put them up yet. So, I guess we could move to another country.
Yeah, I mean,
you up with it? You up to with Gibraltar and the hedge fund idea? Oh no, you got to get through college first. I couldn't do that.
Anyways, so yeah, unfortunately, I have to go with Bet Online. I know some of you guys were a little disappointed in that. I can understand, but 5 Dimes wasn't offering us anything, and I think the variety of plays we got with, and the members will know this by now. But the variety of plays we got, like showcasing, for example, this top half play, we would have not gotten last year on 5 Dimes. A lot more limited last year to the basic, top goal scores and then point totals, which 5 Dimes didn't have yet, like you said, and then like relegation and winners. So we were really limited last year. This season we've had a lot more variety, and I think it also allows us to find a lot more value in these plays. But yeah, so really happy with this play. Like I said, I mean, I can't be more excited about Southampton's season. I think this is the perfect storm. Like I said, they're coming off of 2 bad years, coming in with a great manager that people are underrating. I actually sent this thing in Slack the other day, which I thought was pretty funny. Where this guy did top 20 manager ratings, and he had Ralph Hasenhuttl at 18th or something ridiculous like that. And it's like, if the general public really thinks that Hasenhuttl is a below average manager, then we are in for a ride to find a crazy amount of value on this team this season. So yeah, hopefully we can ride this wave of value on Southampton for a little bit here, at least until people catch on, or maybe they aren't as successful as we think they are. You never know. But like I said, the model, all the indicators are pointing upwards for this team this season, and that's exactly why we go with this play. And I think it's a great find. Well, it was a great find at plus 375, but I would still make it at plus 275. And I anticipate it's probably going to drop more, so the quicker the better.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, in this brief, I guess it's 4 teams, but we've gotten really in depth with these plays, and I'll recap them. But I just wanted to make the observation. It looks like you didn't really leave any stones unturned for this. You are the EPL magician. You have come up with even more tricks for this season, and I'm so pumped up to get into this year. Really excited about it, and as usual, you brought your statistical flamethrower to the podcast. I always like it when you bring the statistical flame. I can't say it, but when you bring your statistical flamethrower to the podcast, yes. So, okay, let's recap the plays. The first one is Everton, plus 400 to finish in the top 6. We really like that one. We like them all. I don't think – is there one that you like more of all these 4 plays?
I mean, I'm really excited about Southampton, like you could probably tell. But I think the most obvious play for me that's just a no-brainer is that Arsenal best place versus Chelsea. But I mean, if you had to pick if you had to ask me about a favorite, I mean, I'm going with the Southampton team. I think it would be okay. Awesome. And, if they end up having a great season, we're one of the ones that were on them early. So I like Southampton for sure. My favorite play, but in terms of just a no-brainer play for me, it's Arsenal versus Chelsea, best placed.
Banker's bet. I love that. Okay, so recapping. Everton, top 6, plus 400. Arsenal to finish above Chelsea at minus 105. In fact, I'm going to go to the bank on that one right after the podcast. Burnley, we will not get burned by Burnley this year. Over 38.5 points for a unit. They're all 1-unit play. Oh, no. The first 3 are 1-unit plays. This Southampton, a half-unit play. Southampton, top half, plus 275. Some solid free plays to get you started. I know you members got a lot more really good plays, and excited for the season to start. We're going to probably record the podcast tomorrow for the Saturday games, or the weekend games. And I tell you what, I can't be looking forward to this season more than I'm really pumped up for this, Riley. So
yeah, so am I. I mean, you guys already know
to you and what you've done in that model. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun to mess with. And I mean, like I was about to say, you guys already know more hard cutting edge analysis coming your way for each match week here. And the additions we've made makes it really easy. Like for that projection sheet that I was showing you there, just as easy as a few filters, type in a player, and you can see every single player's projected stats for every single game this season. So it's really, really nice. We'll be making a lot of goal score plays this season as well. So really excited with how the summer has turned out for this model. I think it's gone better than I could have even imagined at the start of the summer. And I'm really excited to get into this year 2 of the EPL model, and hopefully it's a winning one like last year.
Absolutely, Riley. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We will be back within 2 days for the first week of the EPL. Thanks for listening, as always. For Riley Wickman, it's the base winner. Have a great one. Hope your bet's cash.
There it is.